Welcome to another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. It's wonderful to have you share this journey, whether it's just a few steps or if you've been with me the whole way. Thank you so much. And thank you for an email from DK Ananda. So before I forget, because I would never forgive myself, today's practice is dedicated to DK, to Dee Dee for recommending this sadhana to her. Thank you. To Joel, VBP, happy 85th birthday and happiness to his family as they celebrate. And on a more serious note, Vera and Sue, practices for all of you today. 5 of you that can become relevant as we talk about this question that DK sent in. Well, actually, she sent in a few. And I told her they were so good, I thought maybe answering them for all of you could be of benefit. So one of DK's questions was, I didn't write it down exactly. What does the Bhagavad Gita say about forgiveness? And boy, did that send me into an interesting inner journey, because at first I was like, forgiveness. I don't remember that specific word in the Gita. I think I need to reread the whole Gita. How can I not remember? I spent so much time with the Gita. And I freaked out a little. But then I realized, wait a minute. Let's just calm down and think about this more clearly. And I realized that, like many things, the Gita might not explicitly talk about certain qualities, but that's because it's addressing the root need that forms those qualities. Okay, so what do I mean by that? What could I mean by that? So if you've been following some of this, when we've talked about the Gita and samatvam essentially being yourself, no matter what the situation. So somebody does you wrong, the Gita says, not the word forgiveness specifically that I can recall, but if somebody does you wrong, you still treat them the same as somebody who treats you well. That does not mean accepting abuse. It means that you are polite to that person. You treat them as a spark of the divine, even if you don't personally agree with every little thing they're doing. You honor them. You honor them as part of something, some great mystery that you don't fully understand. And also, I mentioned this too when we talked about friends and enemies. You don't let people you don't like or don't know treat you differently than you let people who you like or love treat you. Actually, it's usually the people we like or love that most need our forgiveness. The enemies, we go, but the people that know us and we perceive as them hurting us on purpose, that can take more of our capacity to try to address that issue for ourselves. So when I say the Gita doesn't necessarily have to talk about forgiveness specifically, I came up with a short little mantra a few weeks ago that I've recommended for meditation, and this can go in your daily life, is whatever you're doing, be present, do your best, and be content. These are some of the teachings of the Gita. Whatever you're doing, be there, do your best in that moment, and then let go of your attachment to any specific results. Be content with what happens. That's kind of the Gita in a nutshell. If you do these things, forgiveness is addressed at the root. It's not necessary. So if you know in your heart of hearts that you are being fully engaged in the moment and you are doing what is best in that moment, and then you're like, the rest is up to the divine, the supreme, fate, laws of physics, whatever, then what is there to forgive? Especially if you can embrace this within yourself, you see that everybody else is doing this too. Whether ignorantly or with full knowledge of what is happening, you may have heard this, but everybody in the moment is meeting it as best they can. They may not be fully present, but they're meeting it as best they can. They're seeing it through their own filters. They're seeing a different world than you are, and they're acting accordingly. And then if we extrapolate from that, the divine, the supreme, whatever you want to call it, physics, sees the world in a totally different way than you do. There's no one absolute right or wrong. And when we make judgments about what's right and what's wrong, and then who needs to be punished and who needs to be forgiven, that's our ego, which we'll be talking about more. So, and you can see this because laws change over time, right? I should say laws of government, laws of nations. Sometimes things are illegal. Sometimes, like here in the United States, prohibition. No more drinking. Oh, crap, that didn't work well. Drinking. So, what do you do with all those people that were drinking when supposedly it was illegal to drink? We have to tap into the vast truth, however you perceive it, which is guiding the cosmos according to the Mahabharata in the best possible way. Oh, what time is it? Okay, I think I have time for a brief story. I mentioned the number 5. Each of the Pandava or hero brothers in the Gita represents one of the chakras, according to Paramahamsa Yogananda. And when we're talking about forgiveness, if you want something more concrete, that would be Yudhishthira, who's associated with the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, Vishuddhi, or Vishuddha, some people say, it's a purification. It's got a special function. If we let it, it turns anything negative into something positive. And there are more stories about that. But let's, so I don't think I've told this one. I went back through the logs. At one point, Yudhishthira and Arjun and the brothers were in exile, and their cousins, led by the evil, selfish Duryodhana, planned to attack and kill them with a huge army while the Pandavas were basically helpless. Fortunately, the Pandavas, Yudhishthira and Arjun and their brothers, had powerful friends who watched out for them, and they actually captured Duryodhana and as he was about to attack and kill the brothers, and brought Duryodhana to Yudhishthira in chains. And Yudhishthira basically said, "Thank you. He's our cousin. Please let him go." And his friends, his powerful friends, couldn't believe, why let him go? He was going to kill you. And Yudhishthira says, "Let him go. We are related by blood. There are 5 of us. There are 100 of them. Separately, we are 5. They are 100 together. If we can learn how to work together, we are 105. So they set Duryodhana free. And actually, Duryodhana, the epitome of selfishness, was very ashamed by this. We can see this in the Gita. Maybe he couldn't accept that forgiveness, and that produced problems. But Yudhishthira's forgiveness was not weak. Just what he said shows how he viewed whatever situation and tried to make it into a positive, or see the benefit behind it, or see the opportunity for personal growth he had from it. Okay. So I'm not excusing anything anyone's done to you. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, and you were. What I'm saying about forgiveness is it's not about pardoning the other person and making them not culpable. It's about you finding some way to make whatever someone has done to you, to release the poison of it. Vishuddhi is poison or nectar. To release the poison that you may be holding on to, because the poison, as I'm sure you've heard, is really only hurting you, unfortunately. It's not hurting the other person. And find the life-giving, inspiring piece of that. That's the lesson of Yudhishthira, and I think I went on too long. Forgive me. Let's practice. Today we'll do a version that activates this chakra, which is arms up. And you can do thumbs to middle fingertips if you want as a mudra to activate this area. Switch. All right. As we do our contemplation, I invite you to keep holding that mudra, thumbs to middle fingertips, and to contemplate something maybe that's happened to you or that you've done that you find unforgivable. Can you sit with that? Can you at least let go of the poison? And maybe find some inspiring nectar from it. It's tough. Let's see. Welcome back. So the Greek word for soul is psyche, which also means butterfly. Butterflies thrive on nectar. Whatever has happened to you or is happening now, can you find the nectar in it and feed your soul? It'll be a great practice for the day. And I look forward to the next question when next we meet. Until then.